You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
"Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?"
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
after Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
"Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music."
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
"Hey, Meta, call Eva."
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.
Hey loves, it's Paris Hilton. Are you ready to live your best life this holiday season? Well, I've got the ultimate holiday giveaway just for you. Go to parishilton.com/giveaway to win a fabulous gift basket filled with handpicked faves from my gift guide. From my iconic cookware and chic apparel to glam goodies from my go-to brands, this bundle has it all. Don't wait. Enter now at parishilton.com/giveaway. Good luck and happy holidays. Keep living. That's hot.
Good sleep should come naturally, and with the new Natural Hybrid mattress, it can. A collaboration between Lisa and West Elm, the Natural Hybrid is expertly crafted from natural latex, natural wool, and certified safe foams to elevate your sleep sanctuary and support a greener tomorrow. Breathable organic cotton and moisture-wicking Joma wool consistently provide cool and comfortable slumber. Every purchase helps fuel Lisa's work with shelters and those in need. Visit lisa.com to learn more. That's LEESA.com.
The Fan and Shields want to make your holiday shopping a little easier this year. Whether you're shopping for the perfect gift or treating yourself, this is a contest you don't want to miss. Head over to our contest page for your chance to win a $450 gift card. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
I'm told I misquoted the coach again. I apologize. I was eating my lunch and I wasn't paying. I really wasn't listening. I was just waiting to swallow my lunch. But I suggested that he was not going to talk about the number one seed. And then Chad Abbott says, that's not what he said. He did it again. He was talking about clinching the playoffs. And I guess he said, I mentioned it quick, but we didn't have time to get into it because we were ready to play the game. All right. So I screwed up. That's the way it goes. You trusted me. The other thing is, I want to address this before I bring Mark Rosen in. I just want to do it. This will be very quick. It's amazing how fast the common man jumps off the Lions bandwagon. There's no jumping off bandwagons. I approach sports differently. I'm sorry I'm not like the rest of you. It's not jumping off the band. I would love to see them as decimated as they are, health-wise. I'd love to see them win and move on and be a factor in the playoffs. It's called being realistic. It's called understanding the game. And when you have 18 players on injured reserve, including 13 defensive players and including 7 starters, you know your time is up. Their window is still open, I believe, for next year. I don't think they're going to. Now, they may lose their offensive coordinator. Ben Johnson, one of the best in the business, might leave, but the Lions will be back. Guys will recover from injuries, and they'll be back at it again next year, and we'll go. But I'm being realistic, and would I still like to see them? Yes. I'm being realistic, man. They're not going to make a move here. If they do, I'd be the first to acknowledge I doubted them, and now they're here, and I would be very excited about it, but it's okay to have more than one favorite team. Tennessee has 3 NFL teams, and they're all doing very well. The Lions didn't do as well, but your teams are a combined 5 losses.
Yeah.
That's all in 30-plus wins, 36, 37 wins. Nothing wrong with that. And just because you can't deal with it and you don't like it when people have 2 teams, that's just the way it goes. You're not going to get me to change to all of a sudden say, well, it's only the Lions, so I can't enjoy another team's success.
I don't tell you who to cheer for. Don't tell me who to cheer for.
I've lived here since I was 5 years old. I've suffered as long as... The only guy that suffered longer would be Rosen, because he's older than I. Oh, there he is. We've suffered, right? But we saw 4 big game losses. Since then, 6 NFC championship game losses. It's okay to pick another team and have a team you like. I'm not going to apologize for it either.
Of course it is. And actually, some of those NFC championship games, honestly, were more painful than the Super Bowl losses.
That is
for
correct.
those who weren't born. The Vikings have never led in a Super Bowl. They never led in any of the 4. Never had a chance to even think, oh, they can close this game out. Like, in 98 and obviously 41 donut 2001, but 2009 and pick your poison. But the Vikings were really never in any of those Super Bowl games.
No, never.
That's sad.
The Pittsburgh one at the half was like 2-0.
2-0. Yeah, they had a safety.
Yeah, and then after
they had
that,
a chance.
yeah.
Yeah, they blocked the late Fred McNeil against Oakland, the Super Bowl, the last one they played in, blocked Ray Guy's punt. The only time Ray Guy had a punt blocked, a Hall of Fame kicker. The Vikings recovered to the 2-yard line, but then, unfortunately, Brent McClanahan fumbled, I think, a play or two later, and then that was the beginning of the end. Oakland went on and scored, and it was a blowout.
Well, maybe happier days are ahead. The Vikings go to 12-2. They beat the Bears last night on Monday Night Football, regardless of what game they played. I think we knew who the Bears were, and we did not let them off the hook. You're there at TCO, the new Winter Park, the belly of the beast, as we like to call it.
Yes, sir.
What's it like there? What's the mood like?
Well, I mean, that's it. Honestly, even had much. We were out here doing recording 2 of our Skull stories for the holidays. So Pete Bursich and I were doing interviews with Tim Baylor, former Viking and very successful Twin Cities businessman, and Corey Chavis, who's very entertaining. Draft nasty, knows more about the inside of the draft room than anyone.
Other than meat sauce.
Other than meat sauce,
yes.
Yeah. He had an interesting observation about what's it going to take for the Vikings to kind of get over the hill. And he loves this football team. He loves how complete a team they are. He says if they could stop the run, he thought that would be the key thing. And I think he was really identifying maybe Saquon Barkley as much as anyone when you play it. When you get to the Final Four, if you want to look at it that way. He says, I think this team can get there. I really do. I think they have a complete team. I know it's against the grain. It's against the surprise of pretty much anyone who was making predictions this year. But, they didn't know what they had with the quarterback. They didn't know what they had with the linebackers they signed, the defensive backs. Pretty much, it was wide open. And the fact that they've gotten better and better, I think, as time's gone on. Now they clinched the playoff spot, but it's convincing everyone in that room that these opportunities don't come along that often. I think that's what Bursich was talking about. I mean, he said, I know players I played with that maybe made one playoff game in 10 years or something. So young players aren't aware of that. They always think that they're going to go back, and many times they do. If you're a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, you do. But for the most part, sometimes you just never get that chance again. So it's got to be, without putting that extreme pressure on the players. You have to impress upon them. Every single thing, every weight you lift, every time you're in treatment, every extra film session you go through, all of it's accentuated right now when you're coming down the stretch, especially now after Detroit's loss, where the Vikings have a path that they didn't have before this week to not only win the NFC North, but to get a first-round bye, which is really you couldn't even put into words before the Lions loss. And as you mentioned, Common, unfortunately for Detroit, they've been beset by just a staggering amount of injuries, both sides of the ball. Now with Montgomery, losing Montgomery is tough enough. They got Jahmyr Gibbs, but you don't think of Gibbs as being that 25 carry a game guy. Right. He's a splashy, terrifically talented player. But
they basically split carries, really. I mean, I think going into Sunday's game, this past the Lions game against the Bills, or maybe it was prior to or after, I think they were 1 yard apart on rushing for the year. In other words, it was about they were about carrying, and I don't know if they were sharing the workload as far as carries go, but the yardage was about the same. Last night's game,
yes, sir.
It was messy. It took a while for the Vikings to take total control of the game, not until the second half. And it looked like they were about to blow it open when JJ, a rare drop for him, that would have made it 17-0. And I think at that, I don't know. I mean, it could have just stayed at 17-0 for a while. But it really seemed at that point that they were about to blow the game open. They didn't, but then they got things going in the second half. And, the Caleb Williams kid might end up being pretty good. And I know there's extenuating circumstances. His line probably isn't really good and this and that and the other thing. And, he's now under his second head coach, I think his third coordinator and this and that. We've seen that happen. It happened to Kirk a lot. But he just wasn't very good last night. And I never felt at any time, really, that the only time was when they looked like they'd scored, which it was going to be 13-7, and then their fullback, who was actually a lineman, didn't report as eligible. He didn't make the mistake. And as Aikman pointed out last night, I think he's right, this is probably what happened. Somebody on the coaching staff's got to tell him, you got to go in there and tell the referee you're eligible, because he didn't. And all of a sudden, boom, they would have cut it to 13-7. Instead, they ended up with only a field goal, and the Vikings really never looked back.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift was carving him up. Speaking of the running game, he ran 10 yards and he ran 17 yards. And then he scored a touchdown, right? And referees raising his hands, touchdown. And they went, oh, wait a minute. There was a penalty on the Bears. They went back to the 6-yard line. Then Swift ran the ball to the 1-yard line, right? So now they're going to score for sure. It's second and goal from the 1. They're going to give the ball to DeAndre Swift. He's going to score. Holding penalty. And then incomplete. And then they decided, screw it, we'll just kick a field goal. that sums up the Chicago Bears season kind of right there. I mean, that's the ineptitude on offense and the play calling, and Caleb Williams, he's a tough guy to bring down. I mean, the Vikings were chasing him. I know Jonathan Grenard was exhausted after the game, chasing that guy all over the field. He's a big strapping, strong guy, but his arm is all over the place. It looks like he was back at USC, throwing the ball against, some inferior competition, trying to.
He made some just awful passes. He missed guys that were wide open. There was a guy in the end zone. And I'm not going to.
No, I know.
I'm not going to pretend that the Bears would have won the game had all those things happened. But he really never gave them a chance. Anytime the Bears look like, I'm sure they're thinking, well, here's our opportunity. He missed some wide open players, but that's their fault. That's their problem, not ours. Watching
the field at the end of the game out there, Caleb was, KOC made a point of, talking to him after the game, and Caleb had a smile on his face, and I'm thinking to myself, man, he's probably thinking, I wish I had a head coach like this. Who knows quarterbacks. And we'll see how this develops. Bryce Young has got a situation in Carolina, Heisman Trophy winner. These guys being rushed too fast. Some of them have the success. Some of them, it's going to take a while. But the circumstances in Chicago, just organization-wise, it's just not. It's just so dysfunctional that they were 4-2, and one Hail Mary play away from being 5-2, playing Washington, and really being in contention in this the NFC North, which is the toughest division. In sport, as soon as that play happened, it's been downhill ever since. Well,
Aikman tried to suggest last night that he had apparently, when they were 4-2, had been raving about the Poles character, right? The guy that's their GM, and he wanted to not back away from that because he said this. Apparently, he was sort of kind of. He knew he had said that they look like they've got all the pieces in place. Then they go in the tank. Right. He said, "I'm not changing my mind on that." And then he started to kind of. Hem and haw about where they were and where they've been.
Right?
Yeah, because he really wasn't. I mean, the team does look like a mess right now. But he wanted to suggest that because of that one Hail Mary, if that Hail Mary play had been different, who knows where this team would be. And I'm not. I just think that the one Hail Mary play that didn't work out suddenly made the team go in the tank. It's hard for me to believe. I think they've just got a lot of different issues. We'll pause, come back, more to go with the legendary Mark Rosen. He's out at the New Winter Park TCO right here on The Fan.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. Classic style, innovative tech. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee, desperately. So you say,
Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?
To make a latte, brew 2 shots of espresso.
After Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you start walking to work, and you need a soundtrack.
Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music.
With the built-in camera, you snap a pic of a dope mural on the side of a building that you think is worth sharing.
Hey, Meta, text my last photo to Eva.
Sending message.
After work, you head to meet some friends.
Hey, nice glasses.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Listen to music, make hands-free calls with open-ear audio and built-in microphones, and so much more. All while staying present to the world around you. Shop Ray-Ban Meta glasses at meta.com/smartglasses.
Mark Rosen's appearance on the program is brought to you by your Greater Twin City Honda dealers. Tune in to Wild Wednesday each week for your chance to win tickets to see your Minnesota Wild in an upcoming game. Wild Wednesdays are presented by Jim Beam, a crowd pleaser since 1795.
Double 13-14 pass. We'll get back to some Vikings talk here in a moment. Wanted to bring up a couple of other topics with the legendary Mark Rosen, who's at TCO Performance Center, the new Winter Park, doing some school stories. Tennessee, of course, is with me back here at headquarters. The Wild, they're still their record is still very gaudy. I think they are third best record in the league, tied with they're 1 point behind Winnipeg and tied with the
Washington.
With 44 points. Kaprizov still continues to astound. Zuccarello back after that surgery. He's picked up where he left off. Wallstead played his very first game of the season.
Right. Volstead.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Volstead.
Yeah.
Volstead played his first game of the season. I don't think he did. I didn't see the game, but it sounded like the way that was the story I read doesn't seem like he gave up a couple of easy goals. But I think they've lost 3 of their last 5. It seems like they're going on an every game basis. Now I think in the last 6 games they've won, they lost, they won, they lost. But they're still playing at an exceptional pace.
Well, yeah, they are, and it's obviously we talk about the health in the NFL and any other sport, and it seems like the Wild get hit with a string of injuries, and they're usually not 1 day or 2 days and out, and they're out for quite a while, and there's just an epidemic of them almost, and you got every team has to deal with it, but it seems like the Wild do get hit harder than most in opportune time. But if it's going to happen, obviously you want it to happen this time of the year when the team is still playing at a really high level. So, the season goes on. They play a really good, Florida team here tomorrow night. It's a late start because of national television. And then, they got Utah here on Friday. Then they play their arch rivals, you want to call them that now, at Winnipeg on Saturday. So, it's just, it's the kind of the grind of, every team goes through. And I think it's just, the importance for the Wild. They're playing they're accumulating a lot of points, and that's what's important. I mean, the idea we got to finish first. You got to,
finish first. Yes, we do. No, we do.
No, you don't.
We don't have to.
Well, I mean, it's nice. I mean, you want to finish in a lofty position to kind of authenticate what you're doing during the regular season. But the same sort of conversation you can have with the Timberwolves as well. The winter sports teams are both playing well right now, overall. In their respective standings, but it's end of December. We got months to go before we even we concentrate on really where this team is at, and players kind of emerging, and the superstars staying healthy like Kaprizov and Boldy, and the players that that they count on, and get making sure that Jared Spurgeon's healthy. Yeah, exactly. So. I think for fans who've been going out there, it's been a very, very entertaining. The game against Vegas, even there was an entertaining game. They played well. They had the chance to tie it at the end, but that's the league. That's the NHL.
Tenneby, how's Gus? Because he was.
Yeah, we don't know, do we?
John Hines has made it seem like it's not. He doesn't believe it's a long-term thing, but he missed a game. He's going to miss tomorrow night's game. Okay. He's still being evaluated. They said so. You never know until, they're so secretive in the NHL anyways of, they could say lower body injury, and you don't know whether he's out a game or 2 or whether he's going to be out 2 months, right? Yeah. So it's hard to get a gauge other than he did tell reporters he believes it's short term. So
that's good.
Statistically, goals against average and save percentage, he was the best in the league, right? And still is? Or?
I'm not sure after the last 2 games where his stats went, right. But the last 2 were not good.
That's true. He had those 2. Rosen, you've been very critical of the Wolves. Oh wait, I was really critical of the Wolves, and I have been because I think I think sometimes they don't really take their jobs seriously, which is something that could never be said about me.
No, never.
But they 5 of their last 6 games, I believe, and I think they've won 5 of their last 6, if I'm not mistaken, if that's the number. They have held teams to 92 points or less in those victories, and that was sort of their formula last year was shut down, in-your-face defense and score enough points to win. I mean, and I know they wanted to improve their offensive efficiency, which you always want to do, but if they can continue to play defense for, and I know there's always going to be your off game, I get it, I guess, but if they can continue to play defense like this, I think the team is that they're more interesting to me that way. I'm not a big fan of how many 3-pointers can you make, and we got a 138, 135 game. I like when you work hard and frustrate the other team, and it's worked well for them last year, and now they're starting to play that same way this year.
That's the hallmark of what this team has to be. I mean, the guys are going to get the points every night, starting with Ant. But they got to play team defense, and it's something that in the regular season often goes, as you say, neglected because it's a 3-point shooting contest, and I gotta hustle back and put my hand in the guy's face. I might end up fouling him. Who wants to put that kind of effort forward? And even the other night when they played San Antonio and won the game easily, as it turned out, the Wolves emptied their bench the last few minutes, and the Spurs wouldn't have even scored, I think, 83, 84 points, and they just gave them, they gave them some baskets at the end of the game, and they give them, I think, 92 to finish with, but that was skewed a little bit. But yeah, I mean, they're sitting at 14-11, and they got
Thursday night.
Oh yeah,
Bodega Cat makes his return to the Bullseye.
Can't wait.
Will you be there?
I will. Yeah.
Will you be media or courtside? Where are you going to sit?
Well, it's to be announced. Right now, it's media.
Is Kilborn coming to the game?
I don't know. Kilborn doesn't. No, I don't think so. No, Nick Swartzen was in for the Vikings game. He's performing this week. He's in town all week, but I don't believe Kilborn will be coming in. He doesn't usually make an appearance until playoff time, so he doesn't like to fly. Not a big flyer.
Yeah, this is a big game, though.
Well, it's going to be, and I think we always talk about.
This is really, it's Bodega Cat making his triumphant return.
Here's
the
difference.
Do you think he's going to get booed?
No. And I was just going to bring that up because everyone was asking, what's the reaction going to be when Kirk Cousins comes back to town?
They booed him.
They booed him, and then I think
for all he did for this team.
Go on.
Well, there's that.
No, I think Carl was traded, and he left a big impact on this community, and I think on this basketball team and on this franchise, and went through some pretty tough times and went through some really, really tough personal times, and was embraced, I think, for the most part. Even the people who were, you can be professional about your criticism of it, and many times he had it coming. But overall, Karl Anthony Towns was the face of this franchise, and this, the segue, when KG was here and everything. So no, I would think there would be a pretty rousing round of applause and ovation for the, as you like to call him, Bodega Cat on Thursday night. So again, that's a late start as well. It says 8:30. It probably won't be. It might be a little later because of the doubleheader, NBA doubleheader and TNT. But yeah, it should be a rather festive occasion. And the Knicks are playing well. I mean, that's a good basketball team in the East. They're trying to, they're going to be chasing Boston all year, but they're 16-10 and probably a pretty high scoring game, and they're fun to watch. So it should be very entertaining.
Did you see the numbers for Bodega Cat his last game?
I think I did.
22 points.
Yeah, 22 rebounds.
22 boards, 5 assists. He's Bodega Cat, and he's back.
He's back, yeah. So
and let me bounce this off you.
Sure.
The Timberwolves traded big ticket, KG. He won a ring in his first year. They traded Kevin Love. He won a ring in his first year. They traded Andy Wiggins. He won a ring in his first year.
Wow.
They traded D'Lo. He got to the conference championship, didn't
Thank
win
God
a ring.
They traded him.
What do you think the outcome will be for Bodega Cat?
Runner-ups, they're not going to win the East. I mean, I'm sorry. I said it before.
I think they're going to win the NBA championship.
Like I said before, and it's hard to repeat. Keep that motivation, especially when you're making the kind of money these guys are making. But the Celtics are 21-5.
That's okay.
They're and Cleveland is having that great start. I mean, they're 23-4. So they got a couple of teams, and Orlando's good. Those are the only challengers. I mean, I think the Knicks can compete with the rest of the teams and probably beat any of the other teams in the East.
Have you ever heard the fable, The Tortoise and the Hare?
I have.
Well, what if I told you the Celtics and the Cavaliers, they are playing the part of the rabbit?
Are they?
That's great to get off to a great start. That's great.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
Chase them down.
There's 8 teams that start in the playoffs after they do that silly 7 versus 10 and 8 versus 9 and then repeat it, whatever they do. But once it's 1 through 8, none of the regular season matters anymore, Mark.
It doesn't. You can throw the records out the window.
Watch out for Bodega Cat in the New York Knicks.
I wish them well. I really do. I've always been, you're talking about being a fan of a team. I was a Knicks fan, kind of growing up. Yep. I liked
well, you like
Clyde
New York and you like Chicago.
I like the Knicks a lot more than the Bulls. Okay. I mean, I like Clyde Frazier and I like Dave DeBusschere and that group that they had. I mean, that was a fun team. They had some great team. Dick Barnett.
Tennessee has three favorite football teams.
Right.
Chiefs, Vikings, Lions. Funny, they've won like 36 games and lost a combined 5. And, of course, he's a Michael Jordan guy. So let me guess, Tennessee, the Chicago Bulls, one of your favorite basketball teams. And so you have, 6 world championships to think about?
Yeah.
It's funny how Tennessee...
Won lots of championships in the 90s.
Amazing.
He's won a lot of championships. We'll come back. One more segment to go. Tennessee Common, Mark Rosen at TCO right here on The Fan.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. Classic style, innovative tech. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee, desperately. So you say,
Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?
To make a latte, brew 2 shots of espresso.
after Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you start walking to work, and you need a soundtrack.
Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music.
With the built-in camera, you snap a pic of a dope mural on the side of a building that you think is worth sharing.
Hey, Meta, text my last photo to Eva.
Sending message.
After work, you head to meet some friends.
Hey, nice glasses.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Listen to music, make hands-free calls with open-ear audio and built-in microphones, and so much more. All while staying present to the world around you. Shop Ray-Ban Meta glasses at meta.com/smartglasses.
Get ready to experience the magic of James Taylor live in concert. Don't miss out on seeing the legendary singer-songwriter along with his all-star band when they take the stage at XL Energy Center on June 17th. Tickets are on sale now. Get all the full details at KFAN.com. Keep your calendar.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. I'm Common. East Tennessee, the legendary Mark Rosen out at TCO. Mark, just for argument's sake, let's take a look at what the playoff picture is right now. The Kitties have clinched, the Eagles have clinched, and the Vikings have clinched.
Right.
Rams right now lead the West. Buccaneers lead the South. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams.
Right.
Let's just for argument's sake say the Packers grab a spot, and then it would be Washington, let's say, wins.
Sounds about right.
Gets another wild. Let's just go with that, okay?
Okay.
Of those teams we just mentioned, Lions, Eagles, Bucks, Rams, Packers, and Washington, which one of those would cause you the most concern in a matchup with the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
Yeah.
You didn't take you long to say that either.
I just think, kind of getting back to what Corey Chavis said and what they're kind of battle tested. Saquon Barkley is a difference maker. I mean, Jalen Hurts. A week ago, it looked like they were tearing each other apart on an 11-2 team. They can't throw the ball. They can't do any of this. Can't do this. And they came back and. They got their flaws. I don't think they're as strong as they were when they won the big one here. Of course, they had Nick Foles quarterbacking, not Jalen Hurts. But Saquon Barkley has been the difference maker for them, and I think he could be a difference maker in the month of January.
I think he only had 65 yards his last game. They didn't run it as well.
Well, I understand. Maybe he's wearing down a little bit.
That's it. Maybe he's wearing down.
I don't know. I think Philadelphia. I'll tell you the guy that. Honestly, if the Vikings were not to win the NFC North and finish for the wild card spot and go on the road, I'll tell you the one guy I don't want to face is Baker Mayfield.
Really?
Yeah, I remember what he did to the Vikings. Was that a year ago in the first game here? That team has scored over. They've scored points. They give up a lot of points, but Baker scares, and that scares me. That's a little strong, but. I like the flair he plays the game with. He's just a swashbuckling, using the Tampa Bay Bucks term, kind of guy, carefree. He can sling it. And I just think Baker more so than even Green Bay,
really,
or Washington,
really,
or the Rams. Yeah,
really.
I'm a Baker Mayfield guy. I just think he's. No, they can be beat. I mean, obviously they've lost 6 games, but I think as far as going into a guy who could get hot, it's one game, not a series.
Interesting.
One game. I think Baker Mayfield's a guy that. Again, you're talking about obviously the Lions that have been the best team in the league, but
they're done.
I don't know. I don't
stick a fork in.
No.
You can't win with 3 defensive starters in the beginning of the year, then a bunch of backups, and then backups to backups.
God, they're signing. I know they're signing practice squad guys from other teams.
Well, they've been doing that for the last 3-4 weeks.
Oh,
now.
man.
They started 3 practice squad players in the Green Bay game.
Well, they could still light up a scoreboard, but that's a whole other thing.
Well, here's what I'll tell you.
What do you think?
The one thing I like about Mayfield is that I don't think there's anybody more dedicated to his craft than he is. When he played for Cleveland, he lived at their stadium.
I saw that commercial. I saw that video they had of him.
How many other guys?
I hear about coaches sleeping in their offices. I didn't realize Baker slept at the
We love
stadium.
Sam Darnold. I don't think he's sleeping at the stadium.
No.
I don't think Jalen Hurts is sleeping. I don't think Mahomes stays there. We know Mahomes doesn't because he had his house burglarized. And they didn't report a break-in at Arrowhead, so he must not live there.
Right.
I think the Rams, and of course they've already beaten the Vikings once. I think this team is one of the most.
Lost the game.
I think this team is very dangerous. I would say Matt Stafford. While if you said, would you rather have Matt Stafford or Pat Mahomes? All right, long term, I'd take Mahomes. Josh Allen, yeah. Joe Burrow, probably. But I tell you what, Matty Stafford, he's a savvy veteran, and he is.
He is.
And when he has. I mean, I know we love our Addison and Jefferson, and they could arguably be the best wide receiver duo in pro football. And if they are, close second would be Puka Nakua? No.
Nakua.
Puka Nakua and Cooper Kupp. And that team's got a little bit of a running game as well. I think that's another team. And, I think they started 1-4, which means they're 7-2 over their last 9 games.
They got healthy.
They got healthy in their start. So that's of the teams we just mentioned. I'm with you. I think Eagles probably would be number 1, and I tend to agree with your Mayfield Buccaneers take. But I think and I'm just telling you, I don't.
No.
If the Viking fans or the Vikings are going to sleep on the Packers, do it at your own risk because that team is young. Defensively, they're pretty good.
Yep.
I think Jordan loves his receivers are starting. They're starting to gel, as we like to say.
They got Jacobs.
Yeah, you remember. Yeah. Well, matter of fact, now I know why they parted ways with Jones because I love Aaron Jones, but Jacobs is a better running back. I don't think there's any question about that. And that's so. I think it's wide open. Put it this way: I think you could take the names of the Eagles, the Rams. These are the teams I'd pick. Eagles, Rams, Vikings, and Packers. Throw those names in a hat, and you could draw any one of those, and I'd go, okay, I'll run with that club. Yeah. I think it's a wide open NFC North.
This is why the Buffalo Bills opened the door for the Vikings, and this is why it's so important. Because you look at the big picture, you just mentioned the parity in the top teams in the NFC, and the fact that the Vikings are playing in Seattle on Sunday. I'm saying likely maybe Geno Smith will not play. We'll see. We'll find out tomorrow more about his injury situation. He hurt his knee or an ankle, whatever. He'd be hobbled at best. And I don't think he's that great a quarterback to begin with, but it's still not going to be it's never an easy game in Seattle for the Vikings, going back to the Russell Wilson days. But I mean, the fact of the matter is the difference between running the table, finishing with these 3 wins, getting a bye week and a home field game, and then as opposed to going to Los Angeles or Tampa or Washington, whatever, and then having to win 1, 2, 3 games to get to the big game is a big difference. And so that's why I think I'm sure the KOC in this very building is they're strategizing. You can only win 1 game. I thought last time I looked on Sunday, but my goodness, it's going to be a great finish. And the schedule makers knew exactly what they were doing. For the Vikings to finish up with Green Bay, then Detroit, is as good as it gets. And, you have an opportunity that I don't think anyone could have possibly imagined that the Vikings could end up with the number 1 seed in the NFC. And they got to believe that they can, it's achievable now because of what's going on with the Lions in particular. But the Packer game here is going to be as epic as it's been. And we've had some great ones with the Green Bay Packers in a couple of weeks here on a Sunday afternoon, unless they flex it. I don't think they are going to flex it.
You like this Vikings club right now, don't you?
I do. I think they're as complete a team. I heard Kwesi on with driving out here with PA, and he talked a lot about the guys who are, how you have to it's like putting together, a really good organization in the business world. You have to find gems, and he obviously has a lot of help with people. But you look at the Jalen. What am I thinking of his
Hurts.
name? No. The Vikings. Jalen Redmond.
Yes. Oh, Jalen Redmond. Sure.
The defensive lineman of the world. The guys that were just really under the radar, and he's contributing the way he is. Jerry Tillery. I mean, even, the inside interior of that line, this is not going to scare people. Like, Harrison Phillips is a solid defensive lineman. But, I think if you look at the Vikings going forward, they're going to have plenty of money to spend next year on free agents. And I think that's probably going to be one of the top priorities is, bolstering, but, you don't have to spend as much money on these guys either because they've been able to put them together. But, they believe that they can get this thing done. And defensively, they've been awfully good. And so I think that's the key thing coming down the home stretch here. They've got some guys under the radar that are playing at a really high level. As I mentioned, who would have thought that when you get rid of Danielle Hunter, Jonathan Grenard, unless you really follow NFL football, you don't know that much about him. He could be, like defensive player of the year in the NFC. I mean, he's been that good, that consistent for the Vikings.
Tennessee, a number of years ago, dubbed the Wild the Skatriots.
Right.
Are you ready with all the way they're playing now? Salary cap money ahead, best coach in pro football, best defensive coordinator in pro football, best stadium in pro football, best of everything in pro football. Are you really ready to start calling them the Norstriots? Norsemen, the Norstriots. No. Are you ready to say we're about to embark on a dynasty here in Minnesota?
No, I think if anything, we found the Chiefs are as close that you're going to have. It's not just a year by year proposition; it's a week by week proposition. I think the Vikings are setting themselves up compared to, let's say, what the Bears, the dilemma they find themselves in, where they're going to be looking for a new head coach and a lot more. Even though they bolstered their team and made oh my God, everything's looking rosy for the Bears. I think the Vikings are positioning themselves in a really good spot because they didn't have to spend any money on their quarterback. They got McCarthy potentially coming back next year to be the starter, but we'll see how that plays out. But more importantly, it doesn't matter how many, they get a number 1 draft pick. That'll be hopefully the last pick. But they have money to spend, and I trust what Kwesi's doing.
You do.
And the staff is doing in finding these gems and finding players and making the right moves. I mean, this could not have worked out better. Now, you're not going to do that every year. People have been critical, and rightfully so. So their draft years a couple of years ago were like, none of these guys are basically left from that team. But doesn't mean that you can uncover other really good players under a rock somewhere. And that's where the Ryan Grigsons of the world and the players, the people in the personnel department, that's how organizations win championships. That's why I've always been so high in the Steelers, because every year, Tomlin's never had a losing season. Well, it's not just Mike Tomlin. It's the people that make up that organization and how they find players and thinking, well, how come my team can't do that? Well, because you're not as good at it. That's why.
You were talking about the Vikings and having Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. Who is at Sando NFL? Do we know who that is?
I don't know.
I recognize his Twitter handle, but I don't know.
Is he sort of kind of an insider? Because here's from at Sando NFL today.
He's Mike Sando. He covers 27 seasons covering the NFL. He works for The Athletic.
Okay.
He
reports that an unnamed executive gave his thoughts on what the hashtag Vikings may do at quarterback in 2025. An unnamed executive. Here's what he says. The exec said, McCarthy's their guy. The talking heads think they're crazy to let Darnold go, but they don't have the same conviction on McCarthy as the Vikings do. If this NFL executive is correct, Sam, we thank you for your contributions to the Minnesota Viking organization, storied franchise, National Football League, but we're going with JJ. Do you think that's the plan, or do you think it's more complicated than that?
I think it's more complicated because I think that I'm anxious to see what the Daniel Jones equation will be. If he indeed is going to stick here and be a part of this team, obviously he's making enough money still from the Giants, and they may look at Daniel Jones as a veteran presence that it provides them with the security blanket that Sam Darnold did Pardon me?
Have you seen Daniel Jones play? I don't think that's
but if you're the quarterback whisperer head coach.
All right, yeah, you're right. That's right. He can. Well, then why don't? Here's what I suggested on Twitter last night. We win the big game. We go the parade route. We trade Darnold to the Bears for Caleb Williams, and then we turn him into the next great quarterback.
Okay.
Brilliant. Well, why not?
You can't trade Sam Darnold. That's all.
Well, we sign him. No, we sign him and then trade.
Oh, I see. A sign and trade. Okay.
Sign and trade, Mark. Don't you understand?
Caleb Williams.
Well, why not?
Oh, you're a funny man.
Do you think? Well, don't you think Chicago would want to have a quarterback like Sam Darnold leading a team?
I think they like their quarterback. That probably 3-4 years from now.
Did they watch him play last night?
Well, it's not last night. It doesn't matter about this year at all.
He's not even the best quarterback on their roster. Who is their backup in Chicago? Do we know?
Is it Tyson Bagent?
I think it might be Tyson Bagent. I would start. I would start Tyson Bagent next.
Yeah, he played the final series last night. He was out there in garbage time. Yeah, he was Shepherd College. I never heard of Shepherd College. I'm looking him up right now.
Oh, you'll remember it someday.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know how. Nobody really knows how that's going to play out. It's not something. I mean, they can be thinking about it a little bit, but Darnold certainly will be putting himself in a position to test the free agent market, and if he ends up with that kind of money, a $30 million a year contract somewhere, go for it. And that I just don't see the Vikings investing that much in him. I mean, JJ, we don't know. I mean, he can't practice with the team. He's doing this virtual reality stuff, in down the hallway from here when he's playing like video games, and he's in meetings all the time. But that's the extent of where he's at. We believe he's healthy and he's well on his way to recovery. He didn't have an ACL; he had a meniscus, and they love him. I mean, they do. But it's not. The problem is that the Vikings are going to finish. Who knows? They could finish 15-2, and to start to think that I got it next year. It'll be the same. No, it won't.
How do you know? Could be the start
I don't know. I'm just saying that the odds are you're not going to end up with a 15-2 record.
Maybe 17.
That doesn't mean you're not going to have a good year, but it doesn't mean that J.J. McCarthy won't be. But he's definitely the quarterback that they wanted, and they have, and they're going to play him.
The winter meeting,
at some point.
The winter meetings, the Twins were busy as a bee. A lot of big moves that they made over there. Yeah, they're really trying to improve this club, and because we're not they're trying to do. They're really trying to impress the new potential owners. They want to show them we're in it to win it. The Twins basically did nothing. I think they signed a Rule 5 draft guy or something like that. They literally did nothing during the winter meetings.
Yeah.
Does it surprise you?
No.
Yeah. It's kind of sad.
No. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Did we talk to you? Were you here when the Ashiba brothers made
we haven't talked about it. Yeah. There are other suitors as well, right. I know. But that's encouraging to hear, but doesn't matter, from the standpoint this year. Then you keep hearing it. Well, this top Japanese pitcher is going to be available at a cut rate price, right? Because he can't get an Ohtani type contract or whatever it might be. So you have to. He's handcuffed by the number of dollars that he can get, and that the Twins would be in that mode. Well, color me skeptical that the Twins will end up with getting a guy even at a cut rate price that's highly thought of as.
You're down on this Twins club like I've never seen before. You used to be one of the biggest boosters and supporters. You would sing "We're going to win, Twins" when you walked in the studio. Now it seems like you're done with this club. As
close as I got to him was saying hello to Joe Mauer last night. That was about it.
He blew the Gallahorn, right?
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, family was out there. At least his wife was out there. So, yeah, he was there and waved to the fans. And
that's the only time Joe has blown his own horn. Because he's one of those...
He lets us do that for him.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that he just kind of keeps to himself.
Correct.
There goes the Parisi Pontiac account. That's an old inside joke for another time.
Okay.
Well, you know what? It's this went pretty well. Because
why would it?
Well, I didn't know with you. I like seeing you face to face.
Well,
it's almost like back in the days. This is almost like back in the days of the Edit Bay.
Yeah.
There'd be 2 flakes of snow, and you'd go, I can't dare leave because I might not get back to the television station.
Correct. I miss those days.
Yeah, I do too.
I could literally phone it in.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a long time now. Hey, you'll be in studio tomorrow?
I will.
We'll see you then. We do appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
Mark Rosen will be back at 2 o'clock in studio. Tenneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
I thought I did a pretty good job as well. Thank you very much. You did too. We enjoyed our visit with you. We are delighted and excited that you shared part of your day with us. But don't touch that dial. Don't leave. Big Ticket, JG, polished, professional, and prepared. They're next, right here on The Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota. And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Hey loves, it's Paris Hilton. Are you ready to live your best life this holiday season? Well, I've got the ultimate holiday giveaway just for you. Go to parishilton.com/giveaway to win a fabulous gift basket filled with handpicked faves from my gift guide. From my iconic cookware and chic apparel to glam goodies from my go-to brands, this bundle has it all. Don't wait. Enter now at parishilton.com/giveaway. Good luck and happy holidays. Keep living. That's hot.
Good sleep should come naturally, and with the new Natural Hybrid mattress, it can. A collaboration between Lisa and West Elm, the Natural Hybrid is expertly crafted from natural latex, natural wool, and certified safe foams to elevate your sleep sanctuary and support a greener tomorrow. Breathable organic cotton and moisture-wicking Joma wool consistently provide cool and comfortable slumber. Every purchase helps fuel Lisa's work with shelters and those in need. Visit lisa.com to learn more. That's LEESA.com.
How to have fun, anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.